And this is all public material, so I put this out publicly. I wouldn't put out anything that's private. But as soon as you put something out publicly, you know what? You have to be willing to receive public responses and ask critically, is this actually what Pope Francis is saying? And I wonder, is there a way I can reconcile this with this? Whenever we look at, okay, what's maybe something that Pope Francis has said, or even something that just Vatican II said, we fail to ask, well, how could this be reconciled with something else? We fail to steelman it, and instead we strawman it. So that is why I'm addressing this, because I see how pervasive these errors are. Anyways, I hope this is helpful.
You say something that honestly I was pretty impressed that Catholic Answers decided to print, because it would seem that in this whole controversy around Francis, they've been pretty silent.
It's kind of surprising that so many Catholics either don't want to talk about it or they totally want to whitewash it. At first, his response, like I said, is just kind of ambiguous. But then the papal spokesman actually clarifies, yes, he does mean contraception here. So if you were giving him the benefit of the doubt, as I was, as many people were with the initial comments that, well, it was just badly expressed, the papal spokesman eliminated any ambiguity in the wrong direction, so to speak. When I got to kind of that moment, it was like, no, there is no twisting or turning of these words that is just like, okay. There's no twisting or turning of these words that results in, oh yeah, this is what the Catholic Church has always taught. Like if he was a local diocesan priest, you'd be like, oh yeah, he's good, but like don't go to him for like tough theological questions. But he's not a local priest, he's the Pope. And so that creates a whole other kind of set of issues.
I feel like there was almost an unintentional gaslighting by those of us who were trying to defend Pope Francis at all costs. Because you got these people who were like legitimately trying to make sense of this. Like, that seems problematic, right? And we're like, absolutely not. And here's why. And I feel like really, like we kind of, maybe some of us are to blame for where some people went. We're like, no, I'm not insane. And I know that this is wrong.
And then you get Francis and suddenly you don't feel like you can just call corporate and get what you want. And it's like, oh yeah, maybe I've been just stepping over all of the legitimate levels of authority because I thought I could get a better case at the Supreme Court level. And that's just not the way it was supposed to be in the first place.
It seemed a given that in Rome, we would always have a sort of theologian-in-chief, a pope capable of articulating the nuances of Catholic doctrine with brilliant lucidity.
Yeah, I mean, that's it exactly, right? And so a defense of the papacy that doesn't account for the history is a poor defense. And you know, like I said in the book, it sets you up for disappointment. There have been plenty of people who they have an idealized version of the papacy. They have an idealized version of what unity is going to look like in the church. They come in, they get promptly ignored once they're no longer in RCIA. They get the cold shoulder. They hear heretical homilies. You know, bad things don't get corrected at the diocesan level. And they get really disillusioned and they walk right back out the door they came in. And that's a problem. And I can't solve all of the problems that I just mentioned there.